So we are going to put a 3-position selector switch or a hand-off auto HOA switch into this circuit. So this was the original diagram to this setup. And what we're going to do is essentially get rid of our stop, our start, and our relay. We won't need that anymore because we are replacing it with a HOA switch. And then this is how the diagram is going to look like now. It's just a 3-position hand-off auto switch, and we will keep our limit switches in place. So I'm going to remove the start, stop, and our relay. All right, I got the start, stop, and relay removed. Now I'm going to wire in my selector switch and mount it. All right, so I'm going to land this first wire. That's going to go to our hand side of our switch. So I got the wire here. I got this wire. Again, this wire is coming from our 24 volts. And this is our 24 volt terminal block here. So I'm bringing in a wire. And then I'm going to land it into our switch. And there you go. I have the wire terminated into the switch. And now I'm going to terminate it out. And then we're going to have a wire terminating out from that, going directly to our motor starter coil, which is A1. And since I'm going to have about 1, 2, 3 wires landing into A1 of the motor starter coil, I am not going to terminate 3 wires to that terminal because I don't want to shove 3 wires into this terminal. So I am going to bring them all, terminate all of them to these contact blocks right here. I have jumpers right there. I got jumpers so that they are all the same, and then I'll just run 1 single wire over to the A1 side of the motor starter coil. So as you can see on the hand side of my selector switch, I have the wire terminating in to terminal 3, and from terminal 4 it terminates out to, it's this wire right here, terminates out to A1. So we have just completed this path for hand over to A1. Now we're going to run another wire from the 24 volt side to the side on terminal on auto. All right, so I ran another 24 volt wire coming into terminal 3 on our auto side, and then I'm going to run another wire out. And then coming out from our auto side, we are going into a normally closed stop limit switch. So the wire I got coming out from the auto side is going to terminate to this limit switch, and this is normally closed. This top one is normally open. It's not used on this one because we are using a normally closed. So it terminates into this terminal. And then coming out from the normally closed limit switch, we have it wired directly to our start limit. So here, coming out from this normally closed side is this wire, and if you follow it, it then terminates into this limit switch, which is the normally open side. Can't really see in there. Try to focus. No, you can't really see in there, but the top side is normally open, so we terminate it into this limit switch, the normally open side. So as you can see, the limit switch is normally open. And then going out from the limit switch, it's gonna terminate to A1. So this wire right here is terminating back to A1. I don't have it terminated yet, but I will put it into A1. And from the stop limit, it also parallels out to the normally open contact on our motor starter. It is an auxiliary contact, so let's take a look at that. Paralleling out from the stop limit, we have 1 wire coming up. This wire here, it comes up and then it terminates to the normally open auxiliary contact on our motor starter. And then coming out from that contact is it terminates back to A1. And so we have a wire that comes out from the normally open set of contacts, auxiliary contacts from our starter, back, terminating over to A1. So we have just completed this wiring here. And our overload never changed. It's the same. It's still wired in A2. It's still wired in series through a normally closed set of contacts on our overload. And then it terminates back to the negative side. Then here's A1, our motor starter coil. I'm going to have one wire terminating back to here so that everything here goes off of one wire only. That way we don't have 3 wires bunched up on that one terminal. Alright, so we have it all wired up. We have our start-stop relay pulled off, and now we have our HOA switch added on. Forgive the sloppy wiring. If you are doing this in real life, make sure it does not look like this. Have it nice and clean, properly labeled, and right length wires. So let's go ahead and test it out. So we are going to check it in the hand position. So in the hand position is manual. So as soon as I flip this over to hand, that contactor should engage. So here we go. Let's flip it to hand, and our contactor engages. So if this was connected to power and a load, like a 3-phase motor, the motor will now start rotating. As you can see, we have it selected over to hand. In the off, it turns off, nothing happens. Switches doesn't actuate anything, nothing happens. Now let's move it over to auto. In the auto position, now we are running off our limit switches. Again, this is our start limit, so when we hit the start, our contactor should pull in. Contactor pulls in after we hit our start, and this is our stop limit. When we hit the stop limit, the contactor should then disengage, and it disengages. And in auto, we can just keep repeating the process over and over again. So there you have it. We added a HOA switch into the circuit. Until next time, deuces.